Hi, this is Susan from Susan B Cards. Today I'm going to use some stencils and inks. I'm going to start with this Sizzix Seascape stencil set, and this is a set of 4 layering stencils. I have my paper and the first layer of stencils on here. You just set up the tool, you put on the first stencil on the paper, and then after that each of the layers just fits easily on here, and you don't have to really even think about how to properly layer this. First layer was tumbled glass. Here's the second layer. Just press this down a little bit so it stays in place. This is a sticky grid. For the next color, which is going to be Salvage Patina. My third layer is peacock feathers. This is prize ribbon, and this is the fourth and last layer, but I'm going to use this one twice. This layer has little dots, and it's like little speckles on the water. Here's what it looks like underneath. So I'm leaving the last stencil on, and I'm going to put some of this glitter paste onto my project. Now this is an old one. It's getting a little dried out. This is a Gina K one that is no longer made. But there's other brands that have like an iridescent glitter gel. I think I think I might have bought one from Brutus Monroe. So just look on your favorite store's site and you'll find something. I know that, you know, the thing with these pastes is they don't last real long because they're paste and they dry out. So you kind of have to use them right away, and I think that was probably the problem. And then with this, you're going to have to wash the stencil right away because there's little holes, and those will get filled with paste and you won't be able to use the stencil again. So you want to be sure to wash that immediately. So here's the finished product, and it just needs to dry. Some of the ink will dry out, but you can see how pretty the glitter paste looks on this one layer. I used the background that I made with the glitter gel, and I decided just to put it together off camera just to keep the video a little bit shorter. I used this set from Sizzix. It's called Ocean Medley. There's also one with a lobster, which I didn't use, and that one's called Ocean Critters. I used both of these for a different card, and they're awfully cute, I think. You can see the dimension in my crab here, and then all these pieces came with it. You can cut coral and starfish and seashells, and then I just added these sequins, which I bought from Simon Says Stamp. If they're still available, I'll link them in the comments. But this was pretty simple. I did put some foam underneath it just for dimension. I cut it twice so that you can see a little bit of, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see that there's another layer. There's 2 layers here of the die cut, just to give it a little dimension. Cut this all in different colors. I put some Wink of Stella on the crab just to give it a little bit of shine. I think it makes it stand out a little bit more. And the sentiment is Seize the Day, and that's from this Sizzix set, and this is from the same release. So again, I will link everything in the comments, but I just wanted to save a little time because these are basic die cuts. There's no layering that's difficult. Next, I'm going to be using the Unchartered Waters stencil. It's a Spellbinders 6-piece layering stencil, and it's from the Fair Winds collection. So I started out with a sticky mat. This is my Brutus Monroe sticky mat, my paper, and the first layer. Now this is both the sky and the water, so I'm going to do more of a setting sun type color for the sky this time. I'm going to be using some Deco foil, so you're not going to clearly be able to see the water. It's going to have a shimmer to it. So I just want to put just a bit of color down. Now this isn't real accurate. This is tumble glass, but you can see my blending brush is has a lot of the other colors that I used for the previous background that I made. So that's the first layer. So now I'm going to put down the second layer, and you can see with these stencils you have to manually line up the stencil properly, the layer properly. Otherwise you're going to end up with a little bit of haloing around the images. But either way, that's fine. If there's a little bit, you can always just color it back in later. So I'm going to use weathered wood. And this is for the rocks. You could also use pixie spray to keep your stencil in place. Since my paper is the same size as a stencil, the stencil doesn't have anything to grip onto. If I had, you know, cut the paper a little bit smaller maybe, or I guess that wouldn't be ideal because then you wouldn't be able to get the entire image in. So I guess your only other option really is pixie spray or taping it. Okay, so this doesn't need to be real even just because, you know, it's clouds and rocks and everything has color variation. But you can see here where the stencil didn't quite meet. It's missing a little bit of color. So I could go back and color that or just leave it. And I think for now I'm just going to leave it. Next I'm going to work on the sky. The sky is a big piece right here, big area. So I'm going to do my own ink blending rather than relying on the stencil for that, rather than leaving it one block color. I'm going to use Fossilized Amber, Ripe Persimmon, and Pink Raspberry. I'll start with the Fossilized Amber and then bring the color down. And the good thing about the Distress Oxides is that these are easy to blend. I might have to put a little pixie spray on this. It seems to be moving around a lot. Yeah, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to spray some pixie spray on this. I don't know if you ever use pixie spray, but it's just a light tack. And I use an old cardboard box, and I sprayed the back of the stencil. And it just helps it grip the paper. Let me just put the stencil back where it was. Now I could get back in here and see it's not moving around the way that it was. Here's a Ripe Persimmon. I'm going to go back and blend this a little bit better, but I'm just going to let that dry a little bit. And I'm going to move into the Picked Raspberry. We'll see what that looks like. That's pretty. I'm going to go into Scorched Timber. See a little bit of haloing there too. Just gonna go back and just put a little bit of the gray on there. Next is another gray layer just on the rocks. For this one, I'm going to use black soot, and in the Distress Oxide, the black soot isn't quite as black as, you know, regular Distress ink. This is almost like a dark charcoal gray. And I don't need a ton of this on here. It's a pretty small area, just the land in the distance. And now I'm going to go to my last layer. Now there's a lot of thin areas of stencil here, so I'm going to use some pixie spray on that so I don't bend the stencil too much. I made a background like this earlier and left the birds off. But since I'm showing this, I'm going to do the complete stencil. So there's the birds. I'm going to go back to stencil 1 because I am going to, I want to deco foil the water, just the water, to make it look shiny. I'm going to put on this Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo. And you put this on, you let it dry, and then you can put your Deco Foil onto your paper and put it through the laminator, unless you have a machine that can apply Deco Foil. I just use a laminator. So I just want a thin coat. This ends up being really, really sticky. And once again, I'm going to have to wash my stencil as soon as I'm done. This is how the Deco Foil sticks onto the paper when you put it through the laminator with the heat. This isn't the same as the Spellbinders Glimmer Foil. This is a little bit different. I wanted to use this because I have some Deco Foil that I haven't finished using, and I really like it on the way it looks on water. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I can see I missed a couple spots. I just want to be sure that Deco Foil can grab onto this image. right, that's pretty good. I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna go wash my stencil and I will be right back. My panel is dry now. You can feel the tackiness. It has the Deco foil transfer gel duo. And now I'm going to take a piece of the Deco foil. I already have the laminating machine heated up, but it's this one. It's called Shattered Glass. It's Brutus Monroe. So I probably only need half of this because I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to cut it. The only thing with this Deco foil, it's hard to tell which side is the side that goes down and which side goes up. So it's kind of hit or miss, but it's very sticky. I'm just going to put it through with 2 pieces of paper. I lost the pouch that goes with the laminator. Well, I didn't really lose it. I never got it. This is my sister's old one, and she hadn't used it for a while, but it works fine. I think she said she got it on Amazon. That worked pretty well. That looks nice. You can see the sparkle in the water. This is the first time I'm using the transfer gel. Brutus Monroe also has a finishing glaze that I use, but I ran out of it. And when I bought this Deco foil from them, I bought the finishing glaze to go with it. I kind of like the finishing glaze a little bit better. So if you can get that, that might be something you want to try. I felt like it's not quite as sticky as this is. You know, right here I could see that I ripped a little bit of the paper. I ended up cutting my background down to a regular A2 size. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, the card is, and then I just cut it about a 1/4 inch smaller all the way around. So this panel is 4 by 5 1/4. I will make another one in the square size so that you can compare them. This die set is called Set Sail. I don't have the package because mine is a sample from Spellbinders. So what it is a small sailboat, some waves and clouds. Since I used the stencil, I'm not going to use the clouds or the waves, but I did want to show how to put these together. There's 3 pieces of clouds. There's a large one and then 2 smaller pieces. The small piece fits onto the medium size cloud just as an extra layer. Just to show you what it would look like, I'm just gonna lightly shade this. This is just some gray ink, some gray Oxide ink from the background. I'm just using the leftover, but just so you could see a little bit of a contrast on that. So this would go right on top, and then you'd have a little bit more dimension. It fits right into that spot. So I'll put that together quickly. So here's the one cloud. Here's a large cloud. Can't really see it on my background, so I'll just put on the back of this card so you can see how the clouds would look if you wanted to use them. The next piece is the wave, and the wave is a large piece which I cut out of dark blue, and then some of the surf that is meant to be white, so the top of the waves. This fits like this on here, and then there's a small piece that fits on the top here like that, it fits exactly into this spot. So I'm just going to glue that. That I would just leave white. So if you don't end up getting the stencil and you just want the sailboat, it's easy to just ink blend a background. You could make water in the sky and then just put some of these down for waves. And then this piece. And there's some lines here that are embossed into the paper when you run it through the die cutting machine. So it cuts out the shape, and it also leaves lines where these pieces go. So you can see that this looks like surf. So it'd be something like this. I'm just going to use some foam dots that I have just to pop it up a little bit. So there you go. Thanks for watching. More information can be found at susanbcards.blogspot.com.